Um, we had just came from this wonderful vacation. I had footage of the vacation where I was dancing, guys. I was having the best time of my life in Miami. And like a week and a half to 2 weeks later, these things that I'm getting ready to explain to you happened over the course as soon as we got back, between a week to a week and a half later. So I received the message, you're finna get ready to go into the meeting, shut your mouth when you go. I was like, what? I'm finna business meeting? Like, oh God, you're just too good to me. I was just all in my mind. I was like, yes, finally. Now I did all this work for what? I mean, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but okay. And I was so excited, guys, nervous at the same time. What meeting? He wanted me to shut up. Like, I'm finna be in here with these prominent people and something great's gonna happen. And so, okay, so the weekend had failed and some strange things went on. There was a disagreement that my ex and I had had. And the only reason I'm telling this particular story is because it has something to do with one of the prompts. So this is the meeting whole thing where God was telling me, hey, you're getting ready to go into a meeting. That's the third prompt that God gave me, guys. And this is the fourth one that I'm getting ready to tell you. So we had got in an argument, and I want to say it wasn't really an argument. It was just like something he was like, you didn't do X, Y, Z or whatever. And I was trying to tell him like what happened. And he had said to me, he had said, you know what? He was like, it doesn't. He said, that's all right because it doesn't even matter. I've never heard him say this phrase before. We had been married for 23 years and been dating for about 2 years. So 25 years we were together at that time. I had never heard him say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. And that stood out to me. I was like, it doesn't even matter. Why would he say that? And that just puzzled me, right? This was kind of like that Friday, Saturday. And I was like, okay. So that was weird to me. So, resolve the issue or didn't resolve it, who knows. Went on about life. And that Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, I was taking a nap. I was taking a nap in the bedroom, and I can remember that he came in from somewhere. Again, the only reason that I'm telling this story is because this is one of the prompts that I'm sharing with you guys. I'm not saying this to bash anybody or to make you guys feel so. I'm not doing that. But this was one of the prompts. So the one I told you about where we got into the discussion or disagreement, that was the fourth prompt. Now we're moving to the fifth prompt when I was taking my nap. I was taking my nap. And guys, I was knocked out. I remember him coming in the room. And again, I was knocked out. And some clothes was in the basket or something. And he said something about it. Guys, during this time, I've never had this happen to me before, but it's like my ears became so sensitive because I was sleeping hard, but my ears were opened and I could hear exactly what he said across the way. Our bedroom was pretty big. It was pretty big. And so I could hear what he said. He tried to mumble it or whisper it or whatever. It was like a mumble, but I heard what he said. And he complained about something not being done. And he said, that's okay. He said, because it doesn't even matter. He said that phrase a second time. And I was so deep into a sleep. But I heard him very clearly. And I was like, in my mind, I was still asleep, guys. It's like, why did it say that twice? What is going on? And I woke up. But before I even woke up, I was stirring. At this point, I was getting up because I was like, what is going on? So I was stirring. I was trying to get up. And a song, guys, for many of you all don't know, God speaks to me through song as well. And the song that was ringing loudly in my ear to the point where when I woke up, it was playing in my ear. And I was trying to process what I had just heard. I had got annoyed with God. I was like, what? I was like, because it wasn't me. So the song, it's like the song was just playing. Like, it's like if you wake up and loud music's playing in your ear and you're trying to get something together. It's like, turn that music down. I was annoyed like that because I couldn't stop it. I started looking over there and the music was just loud in my ear. And the song that he decided to give me that day was Okay, so I found a song and it is William Murphy. This is your season. This is my season. So it was like, God is, this is your season for grace, for favor. You know that song. This is my season to reap what I have sown. Everything is working together for my good. Everything is working, come on y'all, together for my good. It's good, it's good, it's working for my good. This is your season for grace and for favor. And so what happened was, let me tell you, so the song's ringing in my ear, then I have him over here, I'm trying to come to and break up out this deep sleep, like I said. And I looked over there at him, I was like, why would he say that twice? He's never, ever said that. It doesn't matter. What's about to happen? So I'm lost but confused. So I didn't say nothing. I wanted to ask, but I just didn't say nothing. But I remember I wrote down that song that God had gave me. I listened to that song that God had gave me, because what are you saying? Guys, when you hear a song that you know that you didn't just conjure up in your mind and it's from the Lord, go listen to it. There are instructions embedded within that song, and that's what I did. I went and listened to that song. He was saying to me, I'm finna go into this season and all this stuff. Oh my God. I left something off. There's another time, guys, but I can't go back. I'm just gonna say it briefly. During my sit down time, I want to say in March or April of 2022, I was with the Lord and he gave me 2 separate songs about me going to getting ready to have my own. It's a very old song, but it was very encouraging. And he was saying that he's getting ready. I'm getting ready to have my own. He had already spoke to me about going to scout out the land, and going to my promised land is where I was headed. And so I read that chapter or whatever to see what he was saying. But the next one was that he was leading me to my own. And I was just like, this business, I just kept thinking it was my business going to be so great at the time. Anyway, fast forward back to what we was talking about how he had woke me up by saying that. I just was bothered the whole day. Because I was like, why is he saying it twice? And so, and let me recap. So God had already told me I was headed to my promised land, which was the city. God had already told me it's time for my own. God had already told me that he was getting ready. I was going into a season of mercy and grace and favor. God had already told me. He just kept telling me these things. And so I did not know what was going on. So this is what happened. My daughter, let me tell you guys, by this time, in June of 2022, my car was up for repossession. Woo. I had a Nissan, and my Nissan I had bought, guys, I had it, my name was up for repossession, and it had been for quite some time. And I was very upset about it, but I had a plan, right? Because my car, you ain't finna get my car. We had garage too. I had my own garage. Nah, you ain't finna get my car. So what happened was I had came up with, until I could come up with the money in my mind, I had came up with a way to keep my car from being repoed. This is so crazy, guys, now that I even talk about it. And I had created a plan to where I would make sure that my car was in my garage. I came straight home. I went straight into my garage. I let my door down. This particular day, guys, my daughter had a job. She had already kind of got the job, I think. She was going to get fingerprinted. She was going to do everything. She had not gotten the job because they needed to make sure that her record was clean. So they wanted to give her the job, and her record depicted basically whether or not she would get the position or not. So I had to take her down, and she asked me, and I took her downtown to the city to get fingerprinted. And when we came back, guys, That whole day was crazy because the cop was right behind me and told me your tag. And I was like, no, I had my tag papers. And I showed him from August. He said, your birthday was in October. You needed to go get another tag. Why would I need to go get another tag? I got my tag early on purpose so I wouldn't have to worry about it on my birthday, guys. But that's a whole nother story on how they be playing these games about these tags and their money. But back to what I was saying. So she had came out of it. We were headed home. We got home. She had said, Mom, let me out the car because the garage was kind of tight. So I had a routine where I would let the kids get out the car and before I would actually pull into the garage, you know. And so she got out, but she dropped her glasses. And when she dropped her glasses, she was like, just pull in, Mom. So she wound up going inside. She said, I'll come back out to get my glasses. She went inside. I pulled in. And as I was pulling in and getting out the car to go inside, she was coming outside to get her glasses from the driveway. At this point, I'm inside. I used to be a caretaker with my father. I was in the room with my dad. We were just talking and stuff. And so I was in there with him. We had a dog named Madison at the time. Rest in peace, Madison. Madison was one of our dogs. Yeah. Matter of fact, he was the only one at the time because the American Bulldog by this time had passed. So Madison was a small Maltese mixed with a Shih Tzu, and he was a barker, baby. He could hear somebody 10 miles away and you would know it because Madison was a barker and he was very attentive. His little old ears were very, very, he could hear. And so what happened was I'm sitting in my dad's room and we're talking kiki kaka and Madison is barking crazy. He's barking like crazy. I'm like, what is wrong? But we still in there talking. I'm like, why is he? And I said, Dad, you hear him out here? I said, what's going on with Madison? And so we listening. And I told my dad, he said, yeah, he just keep barking. I said, that's a different type of bark. Like he usually don't bark that way. That's a different type of bark. So I got up. Madison was in the mud room, which was right off the garage. So like soon as you come in from the garage, the mud room was right there. And so Madison was there. And when I looked up under the door, there was a lot of light. There was a lot of light up under that door. And I was like, and I stood there, I said, oh my God. Guys, what do you guys think happened? Right. So I went to the door, I opened it. You could see tire tracks. You could see the tire tracks that they drug that car. They drug my car. I cannot. They drugged that car. I don't know what I had in that car, but it wasn't much because I had already prepared to make sure I didn't leave a lot of stuff in that car because, you know, who knows? Guys, we had fought a good fight for months. These people could not get my car. I would see them waiting at the end of the street with their little truck or whatever to come get the car, but I would never park on the outside. And so that particular day, she left that garage and they got my car. And I was distraught. I was distraught, guys, because I was at the point where I had lost so much anyway. My finances dried up. Now my car was getting ready to, possibly get repoed. Guys, it's almost like my car was the last piece of me. Like the car represented the last piece of my independence. So my car dried up. That was it. And so they snatched my car, and I cried. I cried so bad. And my daughter came downstairs like, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And I told her, I said, you left the garage door open. You left the garage door open. They came and got my car. She was like, oh my God, Mom, should we call 911 because somebody has stolen your car? Who took your car? You know, a lot of times, guys, when you're going through stuff, you don't tell your kids. They don't need to know. You just need to suffer through it. You don't tell your kids anything. They can't help a lot of times anyway. And even if they could, I don't want my kids to worry about me. I've always been that type of mom. I just hide a lot of stuff, keep it to myself because I don't want them to worry or be concerned about me. And guys, at this time, she was like, let me call 911. She actually called 911. I had went upstairs crying. She actually called and I said, no, when I heard her on the phone, I was like, no, tell them it's okay. I know who took my car. It's okay. And I was like, no, it wasn't a thief. It's the repo guy. He came and got it. So we hung up from that, and my daughter was like, I'm so sorry. She was like, I'm so sorry, Mommy. I didn't mean it. And I thought to myself, I told her, actually, I said, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed, because this was not, I was so distraught, to say the least, guys. And I told her, I said, oh, so my eyes itching. But I told her, I said to her, I said, it wasn't your fault. I said, it was a setup. It was a setup. And she was like, a setup? I was like, baby, something's about to happen. And at this time, guys, I think I knew. I told her, I said, I think me and your dad's gonna get ready to get a divorce. And she was like, you think so, Mom? I was like, yes, we are. I think so. Guys, let me tell you, every single time that you feel like you are being set up, I want you to know that the enemy can set you up, and then God can set you up. And that particular day in June, God had set me up. I didn't like the setup, but it was necessary to get things rolling, because he said, now it's time for the divorce. God said that. I didn't say that. He said it. And so he used the fact that I got a repossession as a way to push me into the divorce. And so I called up my ex and I was like, yeah, telling him what happened. And he said, let's talk. He said, I want to talk. He said, we need to talk when I get there. And I knew it. And guys, that was the meeting that God was talking about. It was not the business meeting I was hoping for. It was not the prominent meeting with the billionaires and millionaires that I was hoping for, that was going to project my business into the future like never before. That was not it. God was talking about this meeting. And when he said that, I said, oh, okay. So we hung up the phone. I was like pacing. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But I was not like really scared or anything. It was more so like, this is the moment. This is going to be real interesting. I was talking to God. I was praying because I was like, oh my God, this is a game changer here. So at this time, and I want to say, guys, that my heart at this time, even though I had asked God years ago to get a divorce, I loved my ex very much. We had grew up together and we had 4 beautiful children. And guys, it's one thing that we did not do by this time was marriage well together. But at the same time, we had 4 beautiful children and we did that together. We raised our children to the best of our ability, and we made sure our kids, it was very important to the both of us that our children had a great life experience. And I think that we did the best that we could. And to this day, most of our kids say that they did. So we did family good together, and at one point we did marriage good together, but at this time it was just too much, and we did not work out the things that we needed to work out within the marriage, and that's why it failed. It didn't fail, I don't think, because it could not work. I think it failed because we did not work on the things that did not work within the marriage. There was no outlet, there was no system, there was no process, there was no way to get through the difficult times. We decided to create these the way we dealt with them on our own, which was not the correct way. So guys, I'm going to say that. But also, so what wound up happening was, let me continue on with the story, is that he wound up getting home. We went up to the room, we closed the door, and we was very, very kind of secretive about it. I was just telling, he said, so what happened? And I told him, he said, why didn't your car pay? And I told him, and he basically was just telling me, that he wanted a divorce. And when he said that, I kind of just said, okay. And we just both sat there, like he was looking at me like, I was looking at him like, Okay, like, because I can't say nothing. I think that I tried to say a little something, something, but it was like he just really wasn't. Whatever he said, it just kind of shot me down a little bit. I was like, okay, okay. But for the most part, my response was like, okay. And I think that if God had not told me to shut up, I would have definitely tried not to allow it to happen. Um, because there were certain things in our marriage where I knew that we loved each other. There were some hints there that I knew that we loved each other. I don't want to say in love, but I want to say the love was very strong, the endearment part, and I still just love that fact. I guess I don't know, guys, but I think I would have fought a little harder if God hadn't given me that heads up. Of course, I would have been like, no, we can work it out, blah blah blah. I would have just, I probably would have gave into whatever He wanted me to do, and so forth. But God knew more than what I did. God knew the back scenes. He knew so much more about my marriage than I did. And He was the one who arranged for my marriage to be broken up, to divorce. This was not His plan. This was not God's plan, but it was necessary based upon some of the things that I did not know that was happening. So guys, that is what I want to say concerning the many prophetic heads up God used a prominent preacher to speak in my life. God used, when I spent personal time with Him, He told me some things. God used song and circumstances to direct me through the announcements. And also, there were so many things that went on during the divorce. The divorce lasted for I want to say the divorce lasted for 2 years before I moved out. 2.5 years, guys, before the judge actually signed off. So it was a very long process, guys. So yeah, I hope this video has really helped you guys understand how wonderful the Lord is to His children, and how we have so many benefits with God. And so you definitely need to dive in 2025 and be on board with the Lord, because He is on board with you. He's my biggest cheerleader. I am so in love with the Lord, and there's nothing I would not do for Him. So guys, I want you guys to be encouraged today. Don't forget about that ebook that I mentioned earlier, that is specific to you and to help you. I want to teach you how to be able to be linked to the Lord and hear from the Lord more often than not, right guys? Be trained in the hearing of the Lord, so that your life can be a whole lot smoother. You're not here by yourself. God is definitely right there with you, and there are some things that He would love to communicate to you, but you just don't know what to do. So we're going to fix that, guys. Go ahead and get that. Guys, let me know below some of your experiences. If you have any questions, let me know. And I enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's kind of heart-wrenching at the same time going through it again. But yeah, it was definitely necessary. So I love you guys. I will see you chaps and dames in our next video.